I share a lot of my opinions openly and without hesitation. One thing I haven't and will never hold back on is my hatred for a lot of what Disney is creating, as well as the decisions they're putting into place nowadays. So let me clarify that I love Disney. It dominates basically every aspect of my life, but just because I say that doesn't mean I have to love everything they do. Besides all the stuff they're doing now that I don't agree with, there's a lot of stuff from the past that I'm not a fan of. I know hearing that doesn't help my argument that I truly love Disney, but I've never felt the need to convince anyone of that fact. What I do hope to teach the world is that you don't have to force yourself to love everything somebody does in order to truly love it. People that do fall under the definition of being fake fans. Easiest way to spot these posers is someone who tries to convince themselves that the artist they love is perfect, flawless, all the other positive synonyms. Let me teach a basic elementary school lesson. Nobody's perfect. By defining a fake fan, I hope everyone can understand the justification I have to hate on Disney. First thing, there's a difference between basic beaches and fake fans. I throw out both terms because they're closely related, but a basic beach is someone who goes along and loves all the most well-known things or new products from a company. A fake fan is someone with that same mindset, but who shares their opinions proudly, all while thinking they're the greatest fan that's ever lived. Most basic beaches are well on their way to being fake fans, but you can just be a little derp sometimes and like something. I sometimes listen to Taylor Swift, which is a total guilty pleasure. I usually just hear her singles though, so I'm pretty basic in that regard. I wouldn't call myself a fan, but it's also wrong for any fandom to be elitist and say, I can't listen to any of her music if I don't know the exact time she was born. If you're gonna casually enjoy something, just know your place. You don't need to post a photo in front of Sleeping Beauty's castle and say Disney is your life if going to the parks is the only Disney thing you do. Now, because the world now caters to basic beaches by only putting out incredibly dull and unoffensive content, more often than not, you'll see these two things in play in just about every scenario. A perfect example of this combination is someone who buys band shirts just to look trendy. Fake fans and basic beaches also like to buy movie merchandise before a movie even comes out. I learned my lesson by buying a Han Solo shirt before watching Solo. When seeing any new remakes, I wear something that has imagery from the original film. I just got that Solo shirt back when I still had some hope that Disney could make good movies. Granted, merchandise is still the one thing I can get behind even if I hate a film. That is why I'll continue to add to my stuffed porigami. The confidence people have when getting merchandise that specifically represents a new film goes back to my original statement that the worst thing fake fans do is convince themselves that whatever new thing their favorite company, musician, or celebrity puts out is going to be great. People get so deep in this mindset, you can put out something absolutely terrible and people will still defend it with their lives. The best example of this occurred back in 1999 with the release of The Phantom Menace. It took a lot of people a good amount of time to come to terms with the fact that a Star Wars movie could be bad. But it happened. In fact, it continues to happen, and people have to see it for what it is. You can't give it a free pass just because it's Star Wars or just because you've loved it since you were little. It is what it is. People that say the most recent movie they saw was their favorite. You know the fake fans are the people who rush to upload their review for a new movie and immediately call it their favorite in the series. Don't say the most recent film you saw was your favorite just because it's new. Don't say you like newer films just because they look nicer. If you're gonna say you like something, dig a little deeper and understand why you really like it. Most important thing, being a true fan means honoring the essence of whatever it is you love. Disney has been putting out so many terrible remakes and sequels, it's really made me see just how much of a self-proclaimed movie purist I am. That means I believe in not messing with a piece of art even if there are still so many things you can do with it. There might be a ton of new adventures the characters can go on or new ways to animate a film, but I'd rather leave it as it is instead of bringing it back and possibly ruining it. There's so many things that should have ended before the creators lost sight of what made those works of art so compelling in the first place. So many movies are made better by the fact that they can stand on their own. When I watch these sort of films, I'm not bothered by the loads of backstory or haunted by where the characters go next, which new prequels and sequels do to a lot of classic films nowadays. Fake fans are people who don't appreciate the artwork enough to care if the original vision is altered. They don't understand that vision and don't care if the original meaning of something is changed. It's the reason why I'll never accept the re-released versions of the classic Star Wars trilogy as a main version of the film. It's the reason why people fought so hard over whether or not The Last Jedi was good, and it's the reason why people think Woody's decision in Toy Story 4 was justified. Fake fans support their favorite thing even when what they're doing is wrong. I don't believe in demonizing anyone or anything, but when somebody makes a mistake, you need to call them out on it, otherwise they will never learn. These are basic elementary school lessons, people. When you continue to support somebody when they act out of character or do something they shouldn't be doing, you're giving them your approval to continue to act that way. It's the most heartbreaking thing to see what you love lose sight of what's most important. Disney has been pumping out nothing but lazy, boring remakes because people keep giving them their money, which tells them that that's what everyone wants to see. How did the company that got their start making these beautiful films with iconic characters and stories turn into a studio that puts out uninspired nonsense like this? I know everything changes over time, but your reason for doing something should not change. Disney is no doubt making these movies because they know it'll be an easy cash grab. Everything is about money for them now. They're building building new billion-dollar lands instead of giving a little TLC to rides or places that really need it. Walt Disney made Snow White even though he had no money and everyone was telling him it was going to fail. Disney isn't taking any risk like that anymore, and heaven knows they have the money to do so. I'm a fan of what Disney represents. Their theme song is about wishing on stars. They tell us a dream is a wish your heart makes. How can people look at the stuff they're putting out now and still claim they're capturing that same level of fantasy and imagination? Too many people think that when somebody criticizes something, that means they don't love or appreciate it. They think if you like something, you can't say anything bad about it. But it's because I care about something that I'm so hard on it, because I want it to be better. I've seen them do better. It took all of their new stuff to break me, but I've been feeling this since 2011. I mean, no more hand-drawn films, remakes, or sequels every year, marketing decisions I don't agree with. At the end of the day, nobody will ever fully understand the reason why you connect with something the way you do. Despite this 5-minute rant, I know down the road people will still try and tell me I don't deserve to call myself a Disney fan if I complain so much. They'll think I'm just mad that their decisions aren't perfectly lining up with what I wanted. Well, to those people, I still say that I love Disney, but what I picture when I say that will be totally different than what you see. When I say I love Disney, I'm imagining Uncle Walt, hand-drawn animation, Disney's Golden Age and Renaissance, the Sherman Brothers, It's a Small World, Pirates of the Caribbean with a redhead inside. I'm a fan of that Disney.